Maran Mohan Ju ki jai, Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad, Ashtatara Shatashmad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosvāmī Mahārāja Shila Gurudev ki jai. Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad, Ashtatara Shatashmad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad, Ashtatara Shatashmad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Mahārāja Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad, Ashtatara Shatashmad Shila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad, Ashtatara Shatashmad Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada ki jai. Nitil Pravishta Maha Bhāgavata Śrīla Gokṣaras Babaji Mahārāja ki jai. Nitil Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nitil Pravishta Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Mahārāja ki jai. Shri Rupano Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Patadash Raghunath Shar Gosai Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaurpal Shāda Vrinda ki jai. नाम अचय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय. सर्व अभिष्ट व्रत गिरिराज महाराज की जय. श्री राधा कुंद श्यामा कुंड की जय. श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय. श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय. श्री भक्ति देवी की जय. श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय. श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय. श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री what's his name? Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmad Śrīla Bhakti Saranga Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Tadiya Shubha Tirubhav Titi ki jai. Rukmini told me this morning, I just forgot. I think it's Tirubhav. Sorry. Actually, I can just look really quick. Yes, I was right. Tirubhav Titi ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. Alright, so right now, probably, I'm not sure if you can hear, but there's an insane storm going on outside. I closed all my doors and everything, so that's why you can't hear it so well. But yeah, I'm surprised the power is still on right now. Usually the power is off by now. Anyhow, there's all the chance that the power is just going to cut out at any moment. I might not be able to finish reading today, but we'll just see what happens. I also set up my phone, so if the power does go out, I'm going to try to connect to my phone, but like half the time it doesn't work good enough for doing live broadcasts. But anyhow, so if I cut out, you can wait for like just 5 minutes and I'll try to connect, and if it doesn't work, then see you tomorrow. All right. Sharing my screen. Today we are singing Sakala Vaishnava Goshai. Let me make this text a little bigger. All right. Oops. Shoot, what did I do? Oh, dang it. Sorry. 1 second. There. Okay, now I'll make it bigger. This is by Radha Mohan Das. O Venerable Vaishnavas, please give me your mercy. Holding a straw between my teeth, this wretched and sinful person petitions you. Make me fortunate by helping me attain the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Without the mercy of you all, this is unattainable. I say with certainty that I especially am unqualified. You are all wish-fulfilling trees and oceans of mercy. This attaining your mercy is the only hope I hold within my heart. I do not possess an iota of good qualities, and there is no limit to my offenses. Show the people of this world your glories by delivering me. Please show your great compassion by bestowing a taste for Nam Sankirtan and the treasure of prem upon this Radha Mohan Das. Just checking everything's still running. Looks like it. Okay. I'm going to check back a lot now because of the crazy storm that the internet will go out any moment. Oh, 1 second. Okay. Oh my God, my red tongue is completely flat. Anyhow. Sakala Vaishnava Gosai Daya Karo More. আপনি ধরবেন সকল বৈষ্ণব গোসাই না আপনি গাবেন ধরবেন সকল বৈষ্ণব গোসাই sorry guys okay সকল বৈষ্ণব গোসাই দয়া করো মোরে দন্তে তৃণ ধরি কহে এদিন পামারে সকল বৈষ্ণব গোসাই দয়া করো মোরে দন্তে তৃণ ধরি কহে এদিন পামারে শ্রী গুরু চরণায়ার শ্রী কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য শ্রী গুরু চরণায়ার শ্রী কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য পর পরম পাওয়ায় মোরে করো দান্য পর পরম পাওয়ায় মোরে করো দান্য তোম সবার করুণা বিনে ইহ প্রাপ্তি নয় তোম সবার করুণা বিনে ইহ প্রাপ্তি নয় বিশেষ অযোগ্য মোহে কহিল নিশ্চয় বিশেষ অযোগ্য মোহে কহিল নিশ্চয় সকল বৈষ্ণব গোসাই দয়া করো মোরে দন্তে তৃণ ধরি কহে এদিন পামারে সকল বৈষ্ণব গোসাই দয়া করো মোরে দন্তে তৃণ ধরি কহে এদিন পামারে পঞ্চকল্পতরুঃ করুণা সাগর পঞ্চকল্পতরুঃ করুণা সাগর এত ভরসা মুই ধরে অন্তর এত ভরসা মুই ধরে অন্তর গুণলেশ নাহি মোরা অপরাধের সীমা গুণলেশ নাহি মোরা অপরাধের সীমা আমা উদ্ধারিয়া লোকে দেখাও মাহিমা আমা উদ্ধারিয়া লোকে দেখাও মাহিমা সকল বৈষ্ণব গোসাই দয়া করো মোরে দন্তে তৃণ ধরি কহে এদিন পামারে সকল বৈষ্ণব গোসাই দয়া করো মোরে দন্তে তৃণ ধরি কহে এদিন পামারে हो नाम संकीर्तन रुचि और प्रेमदान नाम संकीर्तन रुचि और प्रेमदान हे राधा मोहन देह होय स करुणा हे राधा मोहन देह होय स करुणा सकल वैष्णव गोसाई दया करो मोरे दंते तृण धरि कहे एदिन पामारे सकल वैष्णव गोसाई दया करो मोरे दंते तृण धरि कहे एदिन पामारे जय वैष्णव ठाकुर वैष्णव ठाकुर वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर वैष्णव ठाकुर वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर हाँ ओ बाबा কোনো অন্তর নেই।
আমি
আমি ওখানে রেখেছি কারণ ওখানে আরো ভালো টাওয়ার আসছে ওখানে। All right. So let us begin. Dandavat pranams, Rup Manjari Didi, and oh God, it just says Facebook user, so I can't see who you are. Anyhow, Dandavat pranams to you, and Gargarajji, Pradumna Prabhu, Dandavat pranams. Okay, so let's begin. Yes, the day before yesterday, when I was after reading about Srivas Thakur, I thought, oh, this would be such a perfect time to read about Devānanda Pandit. And I didn't realize that actually that was the next chapter, Devānanda Pandit. I didn't realize because the title just says Book Bhāgavata and Bhakta Bhāgavata, and then the subtitle says The Education of Devānanda, so I missed it. Spelling mistake. It says Devānanda. Anyways. So this is the Heart of Krishna, chapter 7, I think. By Śrīla Bhakti Pramoda Purī Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Nitya Vishnu Mushripad Śrīla Bhakti Pramoda Purī Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Book Bhāgavata and the Bhakta Bhāgavata, the education of Devānanda Pandit. If you want to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, you must hear from a real Vaishnava. Boshman? One day, Mahaprabhu was walking through the village of Vidyanagar and arrived at a dike by a rice paddy. What's a dike? I think it's a rice platform, something. Oh, a dike is like, okay, there's water all around and it's like a structure above the water. That I think so. I don't know though. Anyhow, the great scholar Devānanda Pandit had built his dwelling by the side of the embankment. Devānanda was a celibate Brahmin who performed austerities and was very scholarly. He had earned a reputation as a teacher of the Bhāgavata Purāṇa. Unfortunately, due to a strong desire for liberation and a lack of devotion, he could not comprehend the real import of the Bhāgavatam, which is an ocean of liquid love, Bhakti Ras. Mahaprabhu's secretary, Sarup Damodar, tried to give him some guidelines. If you want to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, you must hear from a Vaishnava. But you can do this only when you have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So associate regularly with devotees of Mahaprabhu, for only then will you truly understand devotion. You possess Gyan, the ability to understand, but due to aparad, you have not realized that Krishna is the ultimate goal. The Gaudiya Bhashya commentary to this verse states, every living entity is potentially a Vaishnava. Devānanda Pandit had the ability to know the imports of the Srimad Bhagavatam, but this knowledge was dormant in him because of aparad, and his insight was impeded. Krishna knows everything. The type of aparad Krishna knows everything. The type of aparad which was at the root of Devananda's ignorance was known only to Krishna. Mahaprabhu was passing by just as Devānanda Pandit was delivering a lecture on the Bhagavatam. Not hearing a devotional commentary, Mahaprabhu became enraged and spoke out, "How dare this rascal interpret the Bhagavatam? He is completely ignorant of its essence. On what authority does he speak? The Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of Krishna. The ultimate goal is pure devotion. The Vedic scriptures have declared that Bhagavatam is saturated with devotion. The Vedas are like yogurt. They were churned by Shukadev Gosvāmī and served to Parikshit Mahārāja. Shukadev is very dear to me, and he is fully conversant with the esoteric truths revealed in the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam is full of descriptions about my absolute position and nature. Whoever makes the slightest distinction between me, my pure devotees, and the Bhagavatam is doomed." Although the Lord spoke these words in anger, the Vaishnavas were greatly pleased with the instructions. He continued, "Anyone who does not recite the teachings of the Bhagavatam and the light of Bhakti is wallowing in ignorance. This rascal is continuously talking without a single mention of Bhakti. I will shred his book." The Lord stepped forward to carry out his threat, but the Vaishnavas pleaded with him not to. Srimad Bhagavatam is eulogized throughout the Vedas as the most profound and esoteric literature. Poisoned by education and pride, a so-called Pandit cannot grasp this truth. One who boasts of fully comprehending the Bhagavatam completely misses its essence. One who knows that it is non-different from the inconceivable Supreme Lord is enlightened about its purport, pure devotion, Bhakti. Devānanda Pandit was resplendent with all good qualities. Rarely does one meet a personality of such high stature. However, those persons who have a false understanding of the Bhagavatam, as well as those who praise such persons, are punished by Yamaraj, the universal judge. Gaudiya Bhashya commentary on the above incident states, in spite of being a scholar, one may not understand the essence of the Sri Bhagavatam. When scholars strive for fame and glory, then the universal judge Yamaraj, punishes them. Anyways, I think there's a mistake there. Anyways, whatever. If a scholar like Devānanda Pandit misunderstood the purport of the Bhagavatam, then surely, if we pose as learned scholars of that transcendental literature, we will face the same consequences. The reason for Mahaprabhu's anger towards Devānanda Pandit had its roots in the past. The Lord remembered that Devānanda had committed offenses against Srivas Thakur, the incarnation of Narad Muni. This happened before Mahaprabhu's appearance, when the earth was devoid of devotional ecstasy. At that time, there were only a small number of devotees scattered here and there. The scholars of Navadvip were engaged in studying the Gita, Bhagavatam, and other literature, but unfortunately, none of them were teaching the essence of the scriptures, Krishna Bhakti. Since these pundits never cultivated a service attitude, they were unable to appreciate the devotional conclusions of these literatures. Is the internet still going? Yes, great. Devānanda Pandit was foremost among the scholars who lectured on the Bhagavatam. The public held him in high esteem. Ignorant of the path of pure devotion, he committed Vaishnava Parad at the feet of an exalted pure devotee of the Lord. One day, the great devotee Srivas Thakur wanted to hear a discussion on the Bhagavatam, so he came to Devānanda Pandit's lecture and sat in the audience. The entire Srimad Bhagavatam is composed of transcendental syllables steeped in devotional relish of love of Godhead. Upon hearing the Bhagavatam shlokas, Srivas Thakur entered a deep state of ecstasy. The 8 manifestations of deep spiritual emotion, Ashta Sattvic Vikar, such as shivering, hairs standing on end, weeping, and other symptoms, overwhelmed him. The audience felt disturbed by these transformations. Srivas Thakur exhibited these symptoms oblivious to his surroundings, and so the students dragged him outside. Devānanda Pandit raised no objection to this act of malice. Gradually, when Srivas Thakur regained consciousness, he realized what had happened and went to home greatly disturbed. Sri Chaitanya Dev, the Supreme Lord residing in everyone's heart, knew of Devānanda's abuse. As he saw Devānanda, he was reminded of the aparad and thought that the disciples of such a guru would eventually become just like him, so he chastised him. "You there, Devānanda Pandit! One time Srivas Thakur came to your lecture. He was dragged out of your house by your students while he was deeply absorbed in Krishna's pastimes. What was his offense? Was such manhandling a proper response to someone whose heart is saturated with bhakti ras? Ganga Devi herself is eager for his association. You may lecture on the Bhāgavatam, but you can never fathom its true import. When a person eats to his full satisfaction, he loses all hostility. When one tastes the divine nectar of the Bhāgavatam, he becomes a friend to everyone, what to speak of Vaishnavas. As for you, although you teach others about the Bhāgavatam, you yourself cannot taste its nectar. Devānanda silently listens to the Lord's chastisement, which made him feel ashamed and dejected. Although Devānanda was criticized in this way, he was truly a fortunate soul because the Lord's chastisement is a rare blessing. Even demons who are slain by the Lord attain the spiritual realm of Vaikuntha. Anyone who faithfully and sincerely accepts the Supreme Lord's warnings or chastisements will soon be blessed with pure devotion to his lotus feet. Others who disregard the Lord's punishment revolve eternally in the material cosmos. By chastising Devānanda Pandit, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us a very important lesson. If one commits Vaishnava Parad, then even if he endeavors to serve and surrender to Krishna, he will never attain Prem, because he is devoid of Vaishnav Kripa, or the Vaishnav's mercy. On another occasion, while touring Navadvip, Mahaprabhu went from Vachaspati's home in Vidyanagar to Chakri Chattopadhyay's house in Kuliagram, which lies on the other side of the Ganga from Sridham Mayapur. At that time, a Brahmin came to meet the Lord. He held the Lord's lotus feet against his breast and pleaded, "My Lord, kindly hear my plea. I am a notorious sinner. I have criticized Vaishnavas and the chanting of the holy name, thinking that there are no real Vaishnavas in Kali Yuga, and doubting the power of Krishna Nam. Now my soul is burning. You are the most powerful of personalities. Please tell me what to do." The Lord was pleased with the Brahmin's confession. Smiling, he said, "O Brahmin, when nectar, the drink of immortality, is given to one who has been poisoned, the toxicity in his system gradually dissipates, and his body becomes immortal. You have unwittingly drunk poison by criticizing Vaishnavas. The holy name of Krishna and his transcendental attributes are the highest nectar of immortality. Only by constantly relishing this nectar and glorifying Vaishnavas with the same tongue that criticized them will you be forgiven. So glorify the wonderful qualities of Vaishnavas with song, poetry, or any other means, and I will personally absolve you from your offenses and neutralize all their poisonous effects. For one who unknowingly commits Vaishnava Parad, the only recourse is to incessantly glorify the Vaishnavas and the Supreme Lord and simultaneously stop making further offenses. This is the only way to counteract the effects of aparad. Penances and other practices are useless. So return to your home and delight in glorifying the Lord's devotees." The assembled Vaishnavas were overjoyed to hear the Lord's merciful words, and they responded with resounding cries of Hari, Hari. Sri Gauranga instructs all unwitting Vaishnava offenders in the same way, and anyone who disregards these instructions and continues to offend and criticize sadhus is drowned in an ocean of sorrows. Those who take his advice, understanding that it is the cream of the Vedas, will easily cross over the vast sea of nescience and enter the eternal spiritual domain. When the offender uses the same tongue that blasphemed the Vaishnavas to express remorse and glorify a Vaishnav, it becomes auspicious. Poison gradually debilitates one's body functions, but the antidote brings the body back to its natural healthy condition. In the same way, to correct Vaishnava Parad, neither avoiding further offenses nor millions of penances. In the same way, to correct Vaishnava Parad, neither avoiding further offenses nor millions of penances will be truly effective. Only honest and humble glorification of Vaishnavas can bring redemption. Those who follow Mahaprabhu's instruction, believing it to be the infallible truth, who throw themselves at the Vaishnav's feet to beg forgiveness, reap enormous benefit. They develop unflinching faith in Mahaprabhu and easily cross over the vast ocean of nescience. Just as Mahaprabhu finished instructing the Brahmin, Devānanda Pandit entered. Devānanda, despite his noble characteristics, could not develop faith in the Lord or his teachings. In spite of extensive study and teaching of the Srimad Bhāgavatam, he was unable to perceive its transcendental message of surrender to the Supreme Godhead. His heart was impelled by the desire for liberation, so he could not taste the sweetness of Bhakti, nor could he teach Bhakti to others. After Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas and left for Jagannath Puri, fate arranged for Devānanda to meet with Śrīla Vikeshwar Pandit, a great devotee and eternal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This was a windfall of good fortune for Devānanda. A pure devotee's association is like a touchstone, so Devānanda quickly developed ruchi, spiritual taste, and an unassailable faith in Mahaprabhu. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur describes how the highly elevated Vaishnav Vikeshwar Pandit came to Devānanda's hermitage. Devānanda was struck with wonder, seeing his wonderful appearance, and his ecstatic singing and dancing with deep emotion. The desire for liberation disappeared from his heart, and he fell at Vikeshwar's feet, smearing the dust all over his body. Reverence for Mahaprabhu blossomed within him, showing the wonderful result of serving a Mahabhagavat pure devotee. Srila Saraswati Thakur writes, as a direct result of service to a pure Vaishnav, unflinching faith in Mahaprabhu was aroused in the heart of Devānanda Pandit. Vikeshwar's taking up residence in Devānanda's ashram brought immense good fortune to Devānanda. Although Devānanda was a ritualist, he was very learned and self-controlled. His studies of scripture were solely dedicated to Srimad Bhāgavatam. He was aloof of the dictates of his senses, but he lacked faith in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. However, by Śrīla Vikeshwar Pandit's grace, his misconceptions were eradicated and he developed regard for Mahaprabhu. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur writes, service to Vaishnavas is higher than service to the Lord. This is the verdict of the Srimad Bhāgavatam and all other revealed scriptures. The Bhāgavatam states, there may be doubts as to whether service to the Supreme Lord will give perfection or not, but there is absolutely no doubt about obtaining perfection by serving his devotees. Thus, service to Vaishnavas is the most effective and sure method to reach Krishna for everyone. Chaitanya Bhagavat Antya 3, 485 to 487. Devānanda Pandit's darshan of Mahaprabhu had a direct correlation to the purifying association of Vikeshwar Pandit. Humility and all other Vaishnava attributes were manifest in Devānanda as he prostrated himself at the Lord's lotus feet. He got up and meekly remained standing in a corner. The Lord was satisfied to see Devānanda and asked him to come and sit near him. The Lord had forgiven all his previous offenses and spoke to him intimately. You have had the great fortune of serving my beloved devotee. Vikeshwar is a full-blown expansion of Krishna Shakti, or divine potency, Krishna's divine potency. Whoever serves him attains Krishna. His heart is Krishna's favorite place. Wherever he is becomes holy, and that place becomes my abode. Devānanda folded his palms and began to glorify the Lord. O merciful Lord, you have appeared in Navadvip to liberate everyone. I am miserable and fallen. Unfortunately, I could not recognize you, and so I was deprived of the supreme bliss of your association and mercy. But it is your nature to be compassionate to all. I only pray that I may love you. Please tell me what to do. I am a fool. The Bhāgavatam is meant only for the most learned, astute scholars. So how can I teach it to others? Being pleased with Devānanda, the Lord said, "Do not try to explain the Bhāgavatam in any way other than in the light of Krishna Bhakti. From beginning to end, the message of the Bhāgavatam is to love Krishna. In the entire material creation, Krishna Bhakti is the only absolute truth, and at the end of the world, only this truth remains." The Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is the only scripture in which devotion to Krishna is established as the ultimate goal of existence. No other scriptures promote this conception. The Bhāgavatam is not a mundane composition. It is a transcendental literature which appears and disappears like the incarnations of God. Recently, it has manifested itself by Sri Krishna's mercy. Through Śrīla Vyasadeva and by the transcendental potency of Bhakti. Vrindavan Das Thakur warns that considering the Bhagavatam, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur warns that considering that the Bhagavatam is Krishna himself, one must not foolishly think that he knows and fully understands it. The Lord continued, "Even if an ignorant person submissively approaches the Bhagavatam, its purport is automatically revealed in his heart. Embodying pure spiritual love, it is identical with Krishna. The sublime pastimes of Krishna are living within it. Although Veda Vyas compiled the 4 Vedas, the Mahārāja, the Puranas, and other literature, he felt empty and incomplete. But after compiling the Bhagavatam, he felt completely satisfied. Yet there are those unfortunate souls who, even after reading this crest jewel among the scriptures, are deprived of Krishna Bhakti. Simply emphasize bhakti when teaching the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Then you will remain free from aparad, and your heart will fill with bliss. The essence of all scriptures is devotion to Krishna, but the Bhāgavatam is unique in that it is saturated with Krishna Bhakti Ras. Splash the water from this ocean of nectar upon everyone." Devānanda Pandit was overwhelmed by Mahaprabhu's wonderful instructions. After offering his obeisances at Mahaprabhu's lotus feet, he left for his hermitage. Through Devānanda Pandit, Mahaprabhu broadcast to the world the glories of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. The ultimate conclusion of the 18,000 verses of the Bhāgavatam is devotion to Krishna. That home which is graced by this auspicious literature is free from misfortune. Worship of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is equal to worship of Krishna. Pure devotion to Krishna is obtained through regular hearing and recitation of this extraordinary book. Teaching any meaning other than bhakti is a waste of time and leads to aparad. There are 2 Bhāgavats, the Grantha Bhāgavat and the Bhakta Bhāgavat. And the book form of divinity and the Bhakta Bhāgavat, the devotee in the form and the devotee form of divinity. The book form and the devotee form. Daily hearing, reciting, and worshipping of the Bhāgavatam results in realizing the truth about the Lord and his devotees. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj writes, "Eko Bhāgavata Boro Bhāgavata Shastra Ar Bhāgavata Bhakta Bhakti Rasa Patra." Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi 199. One of the Bhāgavats is the great scripture Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, and the other is the pure devotee who is absorbed in the mellows of loving devotion. Devānanda Pandit became enlightened about the exalted position of Srivas Thakur by receiving the mercy of Mahaprabhu and his eternal associate Virkeshwar Pandit. With heartfelt remorse and utmost humility, he repeatedly begged forgiveness at Srivas Thakur's lotus feet. Thus he received the blessings of Srivas Thakur as well as all of Mahaprabhu's devotees. The Lord says, Shabda Brahma Param Brahma Mamo Bhe Shashvati Tanu. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 6:16-51. The supreme sound vibration and the supreme being are one and the same. No one is able to attract the mercy of the book Bhagavat without first being blessed by the grace of the devotee Bhagavat. Without this, Without this, we remain forever incapable of relishing the nectar of Krishna Bhakti. The slightest aparad against the Bhakta Bhāgavata will prevent anyone from achieving the mercy of the Bhāgavatam, the literary incarnation of God. All right, so we will end with a little kirtan. All right, does anybody have any kirtan in particular in mind that they'd like me to sing? Otherwise, I'll choose something if nobody has something already in mind. Oh, and Manjari is saying, honest and humble glorification is notably different than gushing as one. Oh, yeah. Well, I was also just talking about not like very advanced Vaishnavas, but just talking about, people on my kind of level, my peers, But yeah, that is true. Honest and humble glorification. All right, if I don't get an answer soon, I'm going to choose something myself. Let's see. Oh, and somebody's asking from the Facebook Live group, why can I not see others' posts? Is this live on some other page as well? Yes, it is live. I'm using something called Restream. I'll show you. It's actually streaming in a bunch of places. Let me show you. See, I'm streaming on my personal Facebook page, the Gaudiya Kirtan Live Facebook group, the Gaudiya Kirtan page, and my YouTube channel, all simultaneously. So right now there are 7 people watching. 3 from Gaudiya Kirtan Live, 1 from Gaudiya Kirtan, 2 from my personal page, like that. Anyhow, that's how this program works. All right, so let's see. I'm going to choose a kirtan because nobody chose one. Oh, wait. Oh, of course, duh. Yes, we should sing this one. Okay. That's an obvious one to sing. I just wasn't thinking. Thanks, Manjari. Okay, Vrindavana Vasi Jata Vaishnavera Gan. And, oops. Vrindavana Vasi. Oh, come on. There. This one. Yeah, and I've heard that Devakinandan Das and Devānanda Pandit are the same person. Have you heard that? I think Śrīla Gosvāmī Mahārāja. I can't remember where I heard it, but I thought I heard the same story. And after that, he spent his life glorifying the Vaishnavas. There's another song by Devakinandan Pandit, which goes through all the different associates of Mahaprabhu, glorifies them. Super long song. All right. So first of all, I offer glorification at the feet of all the Vaishnavas who are residents of Vrindavan. Falling to the ground in prostration, I pray to the feet of Sriman Mahaprabhu's associates who are residents of Nilachal. Becoming filled with loving attachment, I submit my glorification at the feet of all of Mahaprabhu's devotees who are residents of Navadvip. Bowing down in obeisance, I pray to the feet of all of Mahaprabhu's devotees who are situated in Gauda Desh. So yeah, Vrindavan, Purī, or Nilachal, whatever, and now Gauda Desh. Oh, and Navadvip, and now Gauda Desh. Raising my arms, I offer glorification at the feet of all of Gauranga's associates in whichever country they may reside. Now, all the countries, wherever. Holding a straw between my teeth, I submit my glorification at the feet of all the servants of Mahaprabhu who ever were or will be, Hoya Chen or Hoi Ben, in the past and in the future. Each of his devotees possesses the power to deliver the entire universe. The Vedas and Puranas will glorify this divine quality of the Vaishnava to all willing to listen. All the associates of Mahaprabhu are saviors of the fallen, so I, a sinner, fervently take shelter of them. What power do I have to glorify them? Afflicted by ignorance, I only exhibit conceit. Yet even one who is dumb, such as me, is greatly fortunate and joyful at heart to have an opportunity to glorify them. O Vaishnavas, please forgive the faults of this fallen soul and make me your own servant. By the Vaishnav's mercy, one's desires are perfected, the fetters of Yama, the Lord of Death, are quickly released, and the treasure of Prem, which is rare within this world, is plundered and distributed. They quickly fulfill the heart's longings. With this in mind, Devakinandan utters this Vaishnava Vandana. Okay, I'm not going to do lead and response. I'm just going to, we'll sing it all together. Just because it's going to get late. Oh what was Rupa Manjari saying? Oh, okay. What melody should we sing this? And actually, I'll do lead and we could do lead and response. I'll just sing it quickly. So, Vrindavana vasi jata Vaishnavera gan. Vrindavana vasi jata Vaishnavera gan. Apratame bandana kori sabara charan. Apratame bandana kori sabara charan. Nila chala vasi jata Mahaprabhur gan. Nila chala vasi jata Mahaprabhur gan. Bhumite poriya bandho sabhara charan. Bhumite poriya bandho sabhara charan. Navadipa vasi jata Mahaprabhur Bhakta. Navadipa vasi jata Mahaprabhur Bhakta. Sabara charana bandho hoya anurakta. Sabara charana bandho hoya anurakta. Mahaprabhur Bhakta jata gora deshe sthiti. Mahaprabhur Bhakta jata gora deshe sthiti. Sabara charana bandho koriya pranati. Sabara charana bandho koriya pranati. Je deshe vaishe gaurangera gan. Je deshe vaishe gaurangera gan. Urdhva bahu kori bandho sabara charan. Urdhva bahu kori bandho sabara charan. Hoya chena hoi ben Prabhu jata dasa. Hoya chena hoi ben Prabhu jata dasa. Sabara charana bandho dante kori khas. Sabara charana bandho dante kori khas. Pramoda tarite shakti dhare jane jane. Pramoda tarite shakti dhare jane jane. Evera purane guna gaya jeva shune. Evera purane guna gaya jeva shune. Mahaprabhur gana সব পতিতা পাবন, মহাপ্রভুর গণ সব পতিতা পাবন। তাই লোভে মোহি পাপী লইন শরণ, তাই লোভে মোহি পাপী লইন শরণ। বন্দনা করিতে মই কত শক্তি ধরে, বন্দনা করিতে মই কত শক্তি ধরে। তম বুদ্ধি দোষে মই দম্ভ মাত্র করি, তম বুদ্ধি দোষে মই দম্ভ মাত্র করি। তথাপি মুখের ভাগ্য মনের উল্লাস, তথাপি মুখের ভাগ্য মনের উল্লাস। দোষ ক্ষমি মধ্যমে করণে যদাসা, দোষ ক্ষমি মধ্যমে করণে যদাস। সর্ববংশ সিদ্ধি হয় আম বন্ধ ছুটে, সর্ববংশ সিদ্ধি হয় আম বন্ধ ছুটে। ও জগতে দুর্লভ হয় প্রেম ধন লুটে, জগতে দুর্লভ হয় প্রেম ধন লুটে। মনের বাসন পূর্ণ অচিরতে হয়, মনের বাসন পূর্ণ অচিরতে হয়। দেবকী নন্দন দাস এলো বেকয়, দেবকী নন্দন দাস এলো বেকয়। হরে কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ, কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ হরে হরে, হরে রাম হরে রাম, রাম রাম হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ, কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ হরে হরে, হরে রাম হরে রাম, রাম রাম হরে হরে। হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Jai Sachinanda Gaura Hare, Sachinanda Jai Gaura Hare, Jaya Sachinanda Gaura Hare, Sachinanda Jai Gaura Hare, Jai Saparshada Gaura Hare, Saparshada Jai Gaura Hare, Jaya Saparshada Gaura Hare, Saparshada Jaya Gaura Hare, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol. Oh my god, that was a bit high. Okay. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashma Shri Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosvāmī Mahārāja Shri Gurudev ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashma Shri Bhakti Vedanta Bhaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashma Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Mahārāja Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashma Shri Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashma Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Bhāgavata Shri Gokshras Babaji Mahārāja ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Shri Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Mahārāja ki Jai. Shri Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashma Shri Bhakti Pramoda Purī Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Shri Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shar Gosvāmī Prabhu ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaura Mandal Vraja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Mahārāja ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kund ki Jai. Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitya Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmar, Śrīla Bhakti Saranga Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai, Tadir Shubha Tirubhav Titi ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shinitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol, Vrindai Tulsidevai Priyai Keshavascha, Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavatai Namo Namaha, Vancha Kalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhubhyai Vacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat Pranams. And I didn't, there isn't really time to read about Srila Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, but I will put an article by Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj in the comments right now. I should have done this before. vcvani.com. If you just go to vcvani.com, there are two things about Srila Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj. Let me just open up in a new tab. All right, I'm pasting the links. You'll find it in the comments now. Where did it go? Okay, here's one. Ah, shoot, sorry. Sorry guys, 1 second. There, got it. There's one link, and I'm pasting another link. You can read it when you get the time. Here's another link. 2 links. 2 things by Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj. All right. Oh, okay, cool. Rup Manjari in our shloka group. Rup Manjari already shared this article in our shloka group to do with the verse Tadvikanartam Sagurum Eva Vikachet. Cool. All right. Jai Shri Radhe, thanks for reading with me. And when you get the chance, you can read the 2 articles about Srila Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj. Haribol, Dandavat Pranams. See you all tomorrow.